Tesla is here to stay and keep fighting for the electric car revolution. I think we have a duty to maintain the light of consciousness to make sure it continues into the future. It's very important to like the people you work with. Otherwise, your job is going to be quite miserable. When Henry Ford made cheap, reliable cars, people said, "Nah, what's wrong with a horse?" That was a huge bet he made, and it worked. If humanity doesn't land on Mars in my lifetime, I would be very disappointed. I do think there should be some regulations on AI. Starting a business is not for everyone. Starting a business, I'd say, number one is have a high-paying threshold. I think you should always bear in mind that entropy is not on your side. I do love email. Wherever possible, I try to communicate asynchronously. I'm really good at email. We're already cyborgs. Your phone and your computer are extensions of you, but the interface is through finger movements or speech, which are very slow. Great companies are built on great products. The factory is the machine that builds the machine. I will never be happy without having someone. Going to sleep alone kills me. The United States is definitely ahead in culture of innovation. If someone wants to accomplish great things, there is no better place than the U.S. You could warm Mars up over time with greenhouse gases. Life is too short for long-term grudges. When something is important enough, you do it even if the odds are not in your favor. I'd rather be optimistic and wrong than pessimistic and right. Some people don't like change, but you need to embrace change if the alternative is disaster. I think there should be regulations on social media to the degree that it negatively affects the public good. If you're trying to create a company, it's like baking a cake. You have to have all the ingredients in the right proportion. It's okay to have your eggs in one basket as long as you control what happens to that basket. I think that's the single best piece of advice. Constantly think about how you could be doing things better and questioning yourself. People should pursue what they're passionate about. That will make them happier than pretty much anything else. Brand is just a perception, and perception will match reality over time. Sometimes it will be ahead, other times it will be behind. But brand is simply a collective impression some have about a product. If you get up in the morning and think the future is going to be better, it is a bright day. Otherwise, it's not. We're running the most dangerous experiment in history right now, which is to see how much carbon dioxide the atmosphere can handle before there is an environmental catastrophe. People work better when they know what the goal is and why. It is important that people look forward to coming to work in the morning and enjoy working. When I was in college, I wanted to be involved in things that would change the world. If I'm not in love, if I'm not with a long-term companion, I cannot be happy. If something's important enough, you should try, even if the probable outcome is failure. Patience is a virtue, and I'm learning patience. It's a tough lesson. I would like to die on Mars, just not on impact. I think it matters whether someone has a good heart. The value of beauty and inspiration is very much underrated, no question. But I want to be clear, I'm not trying to be anyone's savior. I'm just trying to think about the future and not be sad. Any product that needs a manual to work is broken. If we drive down the cost of transportation in space, we can do great things. I tend to approach things from a physics framework, and physics teaches you to reason from first principles rather than by analogy. Rockets are cool. There's no getting around that. Self-driving cars are the natural extension of active safety, and obviously something we should do. I think we are at the dawn of a new era in commercial space exploration. We can't have, willy-nilly proliferation of fake news. That's crazy. You can't have more types of fake news than real news. That's allowing public deception to go unchecked. That's crazy. Really, the only thing that makes sense is to strive for greater collective enlightenment. With artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon. You know all those stories where there's the guy with the pentagram and the holy water, and he's like, yeah, he's sure he can control the demon? Doesn't work out. I think it's very important to have a feedback loop where you're constantly thinking about what you've done and how you could be doing it better. I think life on Earth must be about more than just solving problems. That IT has got to be something inspiring, even if it is vicarious. As you heat the planet up, it's just like boiling a pot. I've actually not read any books on time management. I don't create companies for the sake of creating companies, but to get things done. I don't spend my time pontificating about high-concept things. I spend my time solving engineering and manufacturing problems. Land on Mars, a round-trip ticket $500,000. It can be done. The goal of Tesla is to accelerate sustainable energy. So we're going to take a step back and think about what's most likely to achieve that goal. The path to the CEO's office should not be through the CFO's office, and it should not be through the marketing department. It needs to be through engineering and design. There's a silly notion that failure's not an option at NASA. Failure is an option here. If things are not failing, you are not innovating enough. I'm glad to see that BMW is bringing an electric car to market. That's cool. I say something, and then it usually happens. Maybe not on schedule, but it usually happens. If you think back to the beginning of cell phones, laptops, or really any new technology, it's always expensive. I'm a Silicon Valley guy. I just think people from Silicon Valley can do anything. Mars is the only place in the solar system where it's possible for life to become multiplanetarian. Man has the power to act as his own destroyer, and that is the way he has acted through most of his history. In order for us to have a future that's exciting and inspiring, it has to be one where we're a spacefaring civilization. In the early days of aviation, there was a great deal of experimentation and a high death rate. Physics is really figuring out how to discover new things that are counterintuitive, like quantum mechanics. It's really counterintuitive. America is the spirit of human exploration distilled. My opinion is, it's a bridge too far to go to fully autonomous cars. I care very deeply about the people at Tesla. I feel like I have a great debt to the people of Tesla who are making the company successful. Facebook is quite entrenched and has a network effect. It's hard to break into a network once it's formed. The key to making things affordable is design and technology improvements, as well as scale. If anyone has a vested interest in space solar power, it would have to be me. I just want to retire before I go senile, because if I don't retire before I go senile, then I'll do more damage than good at that point. The fuel cell is just a fundamentally inferior way of delivering electrical energy to an electric motor than batteries. I usually describe myself as an engineer. That's basically what I've been doing since I was a kid. I hate writing about personal stuff. I don't have a Facebook page. I don't use my Twitter account. I am familiar with both, but I don't use them. I wish we could be private with Tesla. It actually makes us less efficient to be a public company. If you had to buy a new plane every time you flew somewhere, it would be incredibly expensive. You need to be in the position where it is the cost of the fuel that actually matters, and not the cost of building the rocket in the first place. Selling an electric sports car creates an opportunity to fundamentally change the way America drives. We are the first species capable of self-annihilation. Obviously, Tesla is about helping solve the consumption of energy in a sustainable manner, but you need the production of energy in a sustainable manner. I had so many people try to talk me out of starting a rocket company. It was crazy.